that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. How are you this very fine sort of a Friday? I hope you're doing okay. I've got to say, me, myself, and I, bleeding. But aside from that, I'm doing all right. That's the chunk they cut out of me today. I hadn't realized I was quite bleeding like I am. I knocked it earlier, which is a bit of a bummer. And I think that's probably what's done it. I've also been lifting things, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. And there's probably a great many more things I shouldn't have been doing that I have been doing that you shouldn't do when somebody sticks 5 stitches in your arm. And that's all it was, 5 stitches. The doctor found my story about maybe trying to get that thing out without anesthetic very amusing. When I told him about the metal splinter bit at the end, he thought that was hilarious. He laughs. Interesting Chinese. They laugh in a different way. Anyway, we might get questions about that tonight. That's what tonight's all about, folks. I've been running out emptying trailers, refilling trailers, emptying them again and refilling them again. So it's been an exciting day for me. I have no idea what's going on in the world other than Donald Trump had to have an emergency landing, I think, at Luton Airport overnight after leaving Chequers. He and Air Force One had an appointment, but Marine One decided to let him down. They were immediately transferred into a backup helicopter, which flies with them, of course, and they continued their journey about 20 minutes later. There's, some interesting AI developments, and we'll play an interesting example of what happened when the king decided to show Charles his troops, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. About this time of the night, a fellow who we've now discovered through the intricacies of modern technology may be able to have some measure of control this evening. The Waving Wonder joins us. How are you, my good friend? Well, unmuting yourself would be the first law of having full control of yourself.
I should do that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I muted it because I started having a bit of a coughing fit, so I just sort of better stop that. Okay, so hey, everybody, welcome. Please put your questions in the comments because I now have control of the comments, so I can put up stuff he doesn't want you to see. Well, he doesn't want you to
stuff that I might blow over. You mean? So I get asked a lot of questions. I get a lot of phone calls, people who have my number looking for, a little bit of inside information or whatever. And I don't think I have any more inside information than anybody else. I don't get that much. It's more deep diving into what's happening in the world and having a bit of a brain that tends to chew through that sort of stuff and dismisses crap for crap and quizzes things that require a little bit more quizzing and gets amazed at some of the things it finds sometimes just between you, me, and the gatepost. So, I don't get access to any super duper weird deep Q intel or white hat intel outside of a couple of interesting email contacts that I have that send me things anonymously that usually turn out to be very accurate and that kind of thing. But I honestly don't know who those people are. So, yeah. Vince, you get a question. Chris wants to know, do you know how to put someone in timeout?
Yeah,
the
I
answer
just saw
is yes.
that.
We both do. Do you know how to do that? I know how to do that.
Well, not from here.
Yeah, I can. When you move over, there's 3 little lines on their name.
Oh, yeah.
Click it, put user in timeout, or ban them completely.
Yep.
It's
okay,
that simple.
I just learned something. Look at that. Okay.
So who was first in the room tonight? Because you opened it up early. What the? Hope you're doing all right on the Sunshine Coast, mate. And I can't see it. Connie Spazza! You rang today, mate. Bad day to ring. Sorry, I was flat out. Couldn't talk to you. Had people around me. If I didn't have people around me, I had a doctor sticking a knife into me. I had a bloody garage bleeding me for $659 for new brakes. Who knew? Brakes on a little Suzuki. Anyway, I didn't even think that there was a problem with them. Oh, they're down to the metal. Well, I couldn't hear any metal scraping, and the thing stopped on a dime. But anyway, I'm glad I can keep the local business going. Clayton, the big fella in the house. Good question, Spazza. Well, can I put Spazza's up?
Sorry,
first?
yeah, my bad.
We're going to fight over the questions now? God, I can see how this show's going to go. Does anyone know the ABC is being asked questions in the Senate next month about the 1975 sex tape broadcast they claim that doesn't exist? If Malcolm Roberts is in that estimates meeting, you can be guaranteed the ABC will be asked that. Matt Canavan might also be in that meeting, and I think he would be interested in learning a bit more about that too, and finding out, not necessarily, well, they're not going to release the interview as such, but finding out why there were lies surrounding or how it's been buried. And it's been my experience that these ABC shiny bum bureaucrats are exceptionally good at dodging the questions or stretching them out as long as possible. So don't expect a clear and concise answer if Malcolm Roberts or any of the other senators hammer them on this point. That it will go round and round in circles. They will obfuscate. They will do everything they can other than tell the truth. That would be my bet. It's usually how the ABC works. But I didn't realize it was, well, actually, yeah, it is October, Senate estimates. I keep going to say estimates or excrement.
I've got a deal for you, Carl. I'll star them. You flag them. You put them up, I'll star
them. Okay. So I go to the starred section then.
Yep, you go to the starred section and.
All right, that sounds like a bloody good idea. From Rachel. Does anyone have any thoughts on hydrogen water bottles? Are they making a difference to you or your well-being? What a bloody good question, Rachel. I haven't tried one because from memory they are fairly expensive and, well, fairly expensive is a relative thing. It's relative to how much money you've got in the bank at the time. I never have very much money in the bank, and so I've got to admit I haven't seen one of these in a while. Are they the kind of thing you find in Kmart, or have you got to go to some special smelling organic shop that sells you a carrot for $17.50? Not quite sure. But if anybody does, please put your knowledge up in the chat, and Rachel will find out more about that. Harry Hankinen. Is the Mormon Mafia doing business with Azov battalions in Ukraine? Charlie Kirk wanted to stop sending money to Ukraine. Harry, what a very interesting question. We haven't talked about the Mormon Mafia, I don't think, certainly not recently. And there is a school of thought that suggests, well, there's not a school of thought. There is evidence out that Charlie was certainly being very helpful and being praised a lot by Israel and what was going on with Israel at the time that Charlie was dead set against. It all seemed a bit contradictory. But the Mormon Mafia, you've got me thinking. Because the Azov battalions in Ukraine could conceivably carry something like that out, you would think. I would agree. Let me dig deeper into that, Harry, because that requires deeper digging, and I have a friend I can ask about, particularly the Mormon Mafia connection. At the moment, I don't know. J1, Charlie Kirk's entry wound is an exit wound. I said that the other night on the show and got shouted down by everybody.
And I'm
Maybe not
going to
you.
shout again.
Got shouted
I
down
have
by
to
him.
say on that one, right? If it was an exit wound, then who is the poor person on the other side of Charlie who copped the bullet? Because that whole side of that stage where that bullet was supposed to exit would have been crowded by people. So think about that.
There is also another school of thought that says if it hit his carotid artery, and bear in mind we don't know that it did hit his carotid artery. If it hit his carotid artery, the blood spurt from that would be much greater than what happened. But if it didn't hit his carotid artery, it just went through the back of his spine, came out the front, through his throat, through his voice box, that kind of thing, or a path, across the throat. Then I think the amount of blood that we saw is consistent.
If you watch the video where they're putting him into the car, there's a gentleman in white who ends up jumping into the back of the car, which is the doctor who was doing the live filming that everybody's pointing at, giving weird hat signals. Right? He actually put out a video, and I went and closed it off just as I shouldn't have, but never mind. Hopefully I tried to get it. But effectively, he was saying that Charlie was dead in the car. All right. And
yes,
that it was through the throat. So it gives a fairly graphic description about it. They managed to get him pulse back at the hospital, but then passed away again because there was just nothing that they could do.
No.
Anyway, I'm getting back off and reading chats. Bye.
Very good. Love the way he's just going to pop in and out like that. Could be a regular feature. We might have to give him a new name. What keeps popping in and out like that?
Careful.
Is the FBI investigation debacle over Charlie Kirk's assassination plot to expose the corruption within the FBI? I think everything that's happening inside the FBI at the moment is to expose corruption inside the FBI. I have starred but haven't watched, but I will listen to over the weekend Kash Patel's testimony to, I think it's the Oversight or the Judiciary Committee that he's been giving over the last couple of days. I tried to listen to it last night when I went to bed, and when I went to bed, I went to sleep very quickly. Don't even remember the first question. So I'll need to sit down and listen to that over the weekend. I think Kash Patel is, at least in the frame of the movie we are watching, a good guy. He may be a twist in the tail at the end, but at this point, I think he is a good guy. And Dan Bongino is doing what a good second should do, and that's probably a lot of the legwork in the background while not being seen up front in the media so much. But Dan has a very strong investigative background. He started out, I think, as a New York police officer, did some military, then got into the Secret Service and worked his way up to presidential detail with the likes of Bill Clinton and early Obama years, I think, as well. Or he was involved, certainly, with the Secret Service still in the early Obama years. I think he got out during the Obama years because he hated what Obama was doing to the Secret Service. So he's also been very vocal while setting up his media platform about the corruption in all levels of the judiciary and the three-letter agencies. So I would think that he, a bit like Trey Gowdy, dark horses in this. Watch out. They're going to be power players at some stage. That's my tip anyway. Evening all. Why is nobody screaming about signing the pandemic treaty in December for the final ratification? Chris, I thought we'd lost this argument already. I thought we'd already been signed up to it in June. And certainly, if there is a chance that we can do anything about that, I mean, I'm not a big fan of petitions, I'll be honest. We have tried, and I'm pretty confident it was on this particular matter, we tried to have it stopped in the International Criminal Court. When I say we, somebody did. Didn't have anything to do with me or the Voice of Freedom or anything like that. And I'm of the opinion that, particularly in Australia's case, we can't get a case heard in the ICC unless our Attorney General gives it its stamp of his stamp of approval, or her stamp of approval. I don't know who the Attorney General is at the moment. They're all liars, so I don't care. But that is never going to happen if you're making a report against, the corrupt foreign belligerent occupiers that people refer to as a government. But if we can do something about, and we haven't signed up formally to this yet, and there's still a loophole for us, then by all means, Chris, please send me as much information on it as you can, carl@vofhq.com, and I will endeavour to find out what I can. And certainly I honestly don't know what they're going to do to make it right, because these people in government don't care what we think. But I'm happy to give it a go as best we can.
So
You've
just
popped in again,
clarify
Puppet.
that. Yep, I popped in because I have a clarification. We are already signed up to it. New Zealand didn't. They had extra leeway because they had put in a protest to it. So
That's
they're
right.
going
They had
to-
8 months. Yeah.
Yep. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I guess Poppet there has decided that we are already committed to it. I thought that might be the case. Peg's Place.
Poppet?
How do these...
Pop it? Really? Pop it?
Careful, little stick. How do these traders get away with suppression orders? It's because, from one very simple reason. They control the courts. They have control of the judiciary, and they tell them what has to happen, and it miraculously happens. That is the only logical answer to that question. It can't be anything else. It can't be a mistake. It can't be misread. It can't be anything. These are traitors, as you have identified. They are committing crimes against the people all the time. So, yeah. Moving on. Denise, Carl, did you just say shiny bum bureaucrats? Yeah. Well, I do call them shiny bums. Why shiny bums? Because they always wear those really nice suit pants. And a bureaucrat who's been in the job a long time, because those suit pants have a very shiny bum, because they're forever sitting in a chair. They get up and they sit down. They get up and they sit down. And the place that gets worn the most is their ass. And the threads get nice and shiny just before they, I guess, give way. But that's where the shiny bum term comes from. And it happened to be because I observed a lot of it in a former part of my life. What about the hand signals? Oh, yeah, hang on. Poppet's going to pop in. No, he's not going to pop in. He knows nothing about baseball hand signals other than the man was brushing his hat and feeling his arm. For all we know, he had Tourette's and a twitch. I don't know. There are so many things. It's not just the bloke doing the signals. It's the bloke in the black shirt beside him. He is also signaling somebody else, although he could just be stepping forward and holding his arm out in a really weird angle for a reason. Vince is absolutely steadfastly convinced that there is not a shooter from behind shooting a pistol. He believes that, everybody around them would hear that pistol. And that's true, they would, but everybody around him could well have been actors in the, crisis actors in the scene, so to speak. So haven't been able to confirm that there is a gun in that hand. Got to admit, I didn't go back looking last night, but I will over the weekend. And I don't know that I'm going to have any more luck cleaning up the picture than Vince did, but very keen to have a look. The timing of it and the stance, particularly. Oh, sorry, don't mean to show you my blooded bit, but the stance particularly. It's definitely a shooter's or a pistol stance that the body goes into. But the version I've got doesn't show the whole person, and yeah, it's really only a matter of about 12 or 15 frames. It's done very, very quickly. So anyway, we'll probably talk a bit more about that next week. And as for the hand signals, security teams usually have headsets. They talk into their sleeves and all that kind of thing. His team did have those sorts of jaw-wired microphones or in-ear mic and hearing pieces. So I don't know. Difficult to say, but the hand signals, what would they be telling the person pulling the trigger? What would they be telling the shooter? Okay, he's here, do it now. I don't think that would be the case. The trigger, in my mind, when I watched the first video and listened to the first question, and I thought it may have been the last or the second to last question that Charlie was asked, and it had to do with trans shooters, right? And I thought, wow, that's a really weird question, because it was about trans shooters on universities are overrepresented. And 15 seconds later, bang, and we find out that the bloke supposedly who pulled the trigger is living with a trans who's going from male to female, I want to say. I don't know. That would be, because it was done through a PA. It was loud. That to me would be a coded question that would say, right, if you hear him ask a question, specifically about trans this, then the shooting is a go. And if you don't hear that question, then you don't shoot him. But that would be a military or a planned operation style thing. We're meant to believe that a 22-year-old kid who can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, or at least likes to explore the differences, there are so many weird things coming out about this kid. I'm finding the whole thing unraveling rather spectacularly, and there are Masonic signs and symbolism will be their downfall. Remember, there are Masonic symbolism all the way through this. Doesn't make me feel good about it, but there's Masonic symbolism all the way through this. So we will wait and see, like all good people do. Okay, so hit by that rifle, either knocked flat on his back or his head falls off. Doesn't match. I agree.
I don't.
All right. So the Mauser is not a big. It's not a big bore rifle. It's not a big caliber gun.
It's about the same as a 308. And having
well,
shot 308,
that's got a bit of knock to it.
It has, but it did ricochet off and hit a fairly flashy part, so it's going to lose some of its power from the initial hit, which you saw. You went like that. But anyway.
You've got no idea how long it took me to convince him that shot was a ricochet to begin with. And now I'm starting to doubt my own analysis, or my own initial analysis. So, and it must have been an hour to convince him with, great physical examples of what happens to a body when it's hit by a bullet, that I'm, doing in my chair here. However,
and he did such a good job, I now solidly believe it. There you go.
Yeah, solidly believes it. The black dot and the black spot turns out to be a microphone So a little furry for a microphone. That's what that is. At least that's what I heard somebody else say it was. So I haven't looked into it or heard much more about it, to be honest. So I don't think it has anything really to do with the shot itself. The lovely Donna.
Hang on, guys. Questions. I need questions. I can't star anything if you don't ask questions.
Oh, well, there you go. Vince's job is to star you tonight. Your job is to ask questions. And please feel free to ask anything. I'll do the best I can to give you my understanding or knowledge of it. And that could be very little. Could be a very short show. Have you heard anything about the alien shop supposed to be heading for us? The alien shop? I have heard about the ship. Yes, the alien ship coming our way. Interestingly, I listened to an American podcast today, speaking with a gentleman who runs a program for NASA, or in league with, or somewhere off the side of NASA, that tracks this particular anomaly and many others. At the moment, it's unclear to them, at least, what this thing is. It appears to be acting in rather strange ways, in that it's navigating its way around things or through our solar system. And the trajectory that it's going to take past Earth, which will bring it past Earth on the 17th of December, is going to bring it to within, I think, 119,000 million kilometers of us or something. It's close, but it's no cigar. It's not going to be something that will impact us on Earth, and it doesn't look like it ever was going to impact us on Earth. What it does look like is it's changed direction to come and have a look at us. And so the level of interest in it now is more about watching what it sheds as it comes past the sun. So there are many people in NASA who still believe that this is a comet, and we're not seeing the tail because it's coming essentially straight towards us, and it's in deep shadow, or in deep darkness. It's not being affected by the sun yet, but it is moving at such a rapid rate, and it will come into our solar system past the sun, and therefore not only will it reflect light, which it seems to be doing extremely well now. There is schools of thought that say this is a metallic object that is reflecting light, but that could be ice that is reflecting light just as easy as it could be metal through our, whatever kind of telescope they're using to figure that out. So, yes, this thing coming towards us is of great interest. They're going to see if it's going to drop any probes as it enters our particular area of regard, if you like. So anywhere from, I think, Mercury to Uranus or Pluto will be where it will be interested. And if it's dropping things, they could be mini probes that will skim our atmosphere or do whatever. So we will see what happens. If it comes past, and it will come past the sun, and it's a comet, then we would expect it to heat up and for there to be explosions, like outgassings coming from this frozen chunk of space rock. The pressures of it heating up inside in the rock as it gets closer to our sun will mean that there are ejections from it, and that's how a comet's tail really appears. So as it comes near our sun and this thing begins to warm up, then we'll know more about whether it's a comet or whether or not it's something more. But boy, the amount of talk around the world at the moment is how interesting it is that it can change direction. That seems to be the big thing. Vince, how about, what do you know about the windy weather weaponry? Will they be held accountable? One day, will we live to see it? I don't know. And will those who actually do it be alive to be held accountable? I don't know. Sadly, However, there is now open admission in the US Congress that weather modification is a thing and has been a thing since the 1950s. So for everyone who has been hounded, insulted, beguiled, laughed at, because you dared to say something like, oh, I think they're modifying the weather, you should feel a little vindicated. You will never get an apology from the people that called you names, but you should feel vindicated because there is now 100% evidence that America has been involved in weather modification practices around the world since the 50s. And they've been trying to do all sorts of things in our stratosphere, all in the name of improving our lives. However, what they have done is not improve our lives. They've improved the bottom line of the real masters of the world, in corporate terms, the insurance companies. I think even I saw a few light bulbs go off there. This is all about insurance, folks. It's the insurance scam. We keep wrecking houses. People keep building houses. We keep insuring houses. We keep wrecking them, and people keep building them. We keep giving them money. We charge them more next time when a window breaks or a roof blows off or a truck drives through your house. Insurance. That's where they know everything. And they are able to use that knowledge to facilitate changes in global actuaries. I think that's probably the best way to say it. The actuary charts that the insurance companies hold are the most detailed charts anywhere in the world about all of us. There is, in fact, somebody was only telling me the other day that one of these insurance companies claims to have a predictive algorithm that can almost predict your death to the day, the year, and the time based on whatever information that it's been fed. So fun times ahead. The lovely Donna is still asking questions. Have you heard anything about the alien ship? I think we did that one. I beg your pardon. Ship, not shop. Red alert. Explain to me why they won't let me ask a question that breaks both sides. I have a couple of questions myself. Red alert, explain to me why they won't let me ask the question that breaks both sides. Samantha.
Question, what is the question? So what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. But
Did you miss? Well, this is a conversation she was having with Red Alert. And so my guess is that the question will be prior. And it will be something that Red Alert said. But I'd let you ask a question that breaks both sides, Samantha. Email it to Vince or put it up in the chat again now.
Yep. Sorry, I missed it.
Okay. Denise. Getting back to Oz, there must be some court cases started about Desi, so it seems we're not going to see nor have footage released. Well, that would be the fastest way to stop any of the footage, yes. I heard a story, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, that a body camera had been released by police, footage from a body camera. I don't know which of the officers' body it came from, whether it was any of the 3 involved in the shooting or any of the 7 hiding behind whatever vehicles they took to help be at this place and do what they did to Desi. I think it was a sacrifice, to be honest, and it went very badly because Desi might have been expecting such a thing. But I don't know. It's Interesting. What I'm also finding interesting is the framing of sovereign citizens again. I was having a chat with a fella today who was a former Australian Federal Police officer, and we got to talking about communities and how there are different sorts of communities popping up around the country. Maybe ones like the NSN is a community. We were sort of more referring to communities like this one, livable communities, that sort of thing. And he had a very interesting take on how it all works from the corporate side of town, if you like. I mean, he hasn't been a copper for a very long time, but he believes that the sovereign citizen argument or the narrative that is being put forward by the media, by the police, and by everybody else is simply to brainwash the normies into thinking just how ridiculous this really is. And he, like us, believes that those who use the term sovereign citizen either do so ignorantly because they really don't understand that you can't be sovereign and a citizen. The two are incompatible. So they don't understand the language to begin with. Or the other side of that coin is that they are deliberately being stupid. They're deliberately saying, oh, no, I don't understand that. And I guess we've got to discern for ourselves which way that's going to work. I don't know what Clayton's referring to there. Is Desi alive? I believe Desi is alive. I have no inside knowledge about it. I just have a feeling. So, yeah. Desi is well-trained in survival. He's been living in rough, off-grid situations since he was a teenager and loves it. He's one of those people who tears off into the outback and takes, half a glass of water and an old stale sandwich and then lives off that for the next 6 months. So enjoying the challenge. I imagine he's got the same skills in the Victorian High Country. And if you've ever been into the Victorian High Country, you would have done so on horseback, God bless you, or four-wheel drive, or if you were very lucky like me, you got to do it by helicopter, which is a lot easier and a hell of a lot faster. But it's rugged country. I know the Blue Mountains is just as, if not more rugged, certainly bigger area, I think. But my word, if you know what you're doing there is plenty of ways he could have got out of the area, including a number of rivers. And there is one not far from Pulpunka and Bright that should he have had, I don't know, a little dinghy, a little blow-up dinghy stashed somewhere or something like that, it's very possible he could have been on that and down the river and getting out 300 kilometers, 200 kilometers away downriver to a stashed car or to a friend who's taking him somewhere. And who knows, given the way that our docks run, if you happen to know somebody who works on them, you might be able to get yourself a ride on a slow boat to China. It's possible. Mind you, if I was Desi, China probably wouldn't be the country I'd be choosing to go to. Victoria have some pretty deep ties to the Chinese. So I wouldn't be choosing Victoria if Desi was doing that. Papa V is back. Lost me on that one, Aussie Sue. Who is Papa V?
Papa V. Me.
Papa V. Right, now I understand. Oh, you think it's a bit better than Poppet. Okay, all right. Well, that I don't mind that. That's quite good. Look out. Papa V is back. Yeah, all right. Good nickname. On Red Alert. Anyone think there's going to be a global changing event before Christmas? Well, does Charlie Kirk's death qualify as a global changing event? Papa V?
Yes.
Timing is everything. He's no good at it. But yes, I kind of think it does qualify as a global event because right now, I Am, We Are Charlie movements are growing worldwide. Charlie's message is very strong, and he's not even in the ground yet. He won't be buried until Monday morning, our time. That could be a catalyst because Erica, I think, is going to be standing up and taking center stage where Charlie, at least in the short term, would have been. And this is on the back of her public speech the other day. The strength that lady showed in being able to make that public statement was unbelievable. I don't know how she found the strength to do that, but obviously through her faith, through Charlie's faith in God and their friendship with Jesus, she gained that power. Truly amazing. And now I believe that there is every likelihood that she will grab a lot more of that power of Charlie's and take it on the road. Will she go to the universities? I don't know. She doesn't have to now. The universities, particularly those with a very strong leftist ideology, have shown themselves to be truly unsafe places. And now parents, not just in America, but around the world, who are looking to send their kids to these grand schools, are going to be rethinking all of that pretty significantly because of things like this sort of an event. And if I were her, I don't know that I would want to go back in to face that kind of thing. Though if she does choose to do that, all power to her, I would suggest that from now on there'll be some sort of bulletproof Lexan sort of panel between whoever the speaker is and the audience. They'll be sitting in a box, I think, from now on. And in fact, there was some sort of movie release or anyway, some sort of red carpet event. I want to say I've forgotten her name. What's her name? Taylor Swift. I think she was at this event, walked onto the red carpet, had to walk past the crowd, lots of screaming. But now there is a bulletproof screen between the crowd and where the stars walk. Perfectly clean and no lens refraction for photographers. So it's, real deal stuff, but that's going to be a sign of the times now. They're waiting to pop people off, which is really bad. Can I claim mate? I don't think you can claim treaties in court. I don't think. But we know some people could ask the question. You're in a bit of a unique position, so I don't know. We'll ask the question and find out. Tony, Secret Squirrel Stuff said that it was White Hat Op taken before the Black Hats took Charlie out. Well, there's certainly a lot of people saying that. I think Charlie Ward is saying that as well. I don't know why I'm saying that. I may have dreamt that because I haven't watched Charlie Ward in a great long time. But the reason I say I may have watched it is I go to sleep every night with various channels playing in the background, and he might have popped up on one of them. So that does sound sort of familiar. Deb. I was kind of hoping nobody was going to ask me this. Well, not this year. And not next year. And not the year after that. But the year after that, we might, and when I say we, it'll only be certain individuals who will get get access to it initially to test the system. And those people will be those who have been working in the background for the last however many years, helping beta test the system, getting it to where it is now. And I was having a conversation with one of those people who has been very deeply involved at that end of it for some time. And I have no reason to disbelieve that that is the case. And when I asked just this very question of her, her answer came back 2030 to 2040. And my immediate reaction was my heart sank because I believe it. It rings true to me, given time frames for things that have to happen, awakenings that have to happen. Nasara Jasara was never a date-based introduction. It was always event-based. And I believe still is... Sorry, I keep leaning on this bloody thing and I think I'm ripping my stitches out. I think it still is an event-based event, if you like, Nasara Jasara. And we haven't had the event yet. So could there be a global event that affects us bigger than Charlie dying? Well, yes. We've had various predictions of Trump's assassination, and could they get somebody else in his administration? Would it affect the world? Doubtful. But if this big rock that keeps steering itself around other big rocks in space winds up steering itself towards Earth, coming past us on December 17, and if you've ever watched Star Trek, one of the early Star Trek movies. Oh, in fact, it was a Next Generation movie because it was Picard, but they took Captain... Did they take Kirk? I don't know. Anyway, they went back, found the guy who started up the Infinity Maximum Drive, the Warp Drive, who first created Warp Drive, and shot himself up into space and then came back down again. And it just so happened that a passing friendly alien ship was passing, and the warp signature attracted their attention, saying, oh, gee, these weird little people have developed warp drive. We might pop down and have a chat to them. And that was how the Vulcans and the humans met. Yes, you didn't know I was a Star Trekkie, did you? Clearly not a great one, because I'd be able to tell you the name of that movie. But could that happen to us come December 17? Could one of those probes, if it is indeed probes that are going to be shed from it as it gets closer to us, contain life forms that are popping in to say hello? That would change the world. That sort of thing would change the world. But we only have it on NASA's. Remember what NASA stands for, not a space agency. We only have it on NASA's say-so that this thing's even coming. And you've got to remember that last year, NASA identified a new asteroid until it turned out to be a Tesla with a dummy wearing a spacesuit in it. That was an asteroid. But, oh no, hang on. It turns out it's Elon's car. The one that they supposedly launched back, when the Earth was round. Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see if I could get Poppet to pop in. Spazza, what have you got here?
He is popping in 10 minutes.
I have another question for Carl. Did Mork go back to... Mork went back to Orc and Orson. I'll just leave it at that. Carl, if they drop a probe in Uranus, then yes, it may well sting a little. Chaos, I was waiting for the Uranus jokes. I was going to drop a couple myself, but I thought, no, I'm going to show taste. And, it didn't last very long. Thanks for helping me with that. Have you seen the US patents on weather mods? Yes, I have. There are thousands of them. And modifications for rain, hail, wind, of various different types of wind, the capacity for the wind to be upscaled from a light breeze to a tornado, how to direct a tornado, and that's interesting technology because they have to have some kind of nanotechnology in the cloud to be able to direct it using these emitters that we are now seeing here on our Australian weather maps. So, going to be interesting stuff. Will Cossack sue Mary Jane for defamation? Not if he's smart. Not if he's smart. So I'd say that's a 50-50 at this stage. Do you think the floods will provide water for the lizards living underground? It hasn't in the past. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think we've had some pretty big floods here in this country. And I'm pretty confident the lizards have been living here longer than anybody else has. And they've mitigated flood damage pretty well by now, I suspect. But yes, out west of Alice Springs, there's a lot of interesting holes in the ground out there. One day I hope to go and visit them, probably by helicopter, because it's a long walk. I find it hard to believe that Desi would have fucked around to find out. I'm thinking he wouldn't have been there still at all. Look, I think if you're in fear of your life, and Desi he was under a fair bit of pressure because of the very serious charges that he brought against Dan Andrews, and was able to get a court date for them. There was a lot of pushback from Victoria Police, obviously, because they've been hiding and protecting Dan Andrews and his wife since they hit a 15-year-old kid one night after they'd been on the piss. Drove over him and sort of thought they'd pay him off and get him to shut up, but that didn't work out so well for him, did it? So, yeah, look, I doubt that a man as well prepared as Desi is still in the area. I think whether it be walking out, whether it be getting on a raft and rafting as far as you can down a river, and doing that at night, you're not likely to get seen. Yes, sure, there will be campsites and the caravan parks and God knows whatever else down along there along the way. But if you know what you're doing, you get out, you walk around those, or you are prepared and you've got a dark tarp that you throw over the top of your blow-up boat, which will probably be camoed anyway. Turn off all your torches, lie down, let the thing drift past. That's all you need. And these rivers do have a bit of flow to them, so they're not just slow ambling rivers all the time anyway. Carl,
5 minutes.
Thank you, mate. Knowing what You know, now, think back to the times of the 90s, towns like Bundaberg. Oh, there's a name. There's a name. So I was in Gladstone in the 90s. And, yeah, I'm just trying. I'm not going to. I think I've got the story in my mind about David Gordon, but I don't know that I'll say that, because if I've got the wrong story, I'm going to misname someone very badly. And I don't want to do that. But yes, I wish I knew today back in the 90s. Or back in the 90s, I wish I knew what I know today. For so many reasons. I'd be a much, different person, I think. And I would like to say a better one. Thoughts on digital ID? I don't know how we avoid it, but if we can avoid it, avoid it. I don't know how we're going to do it. These bastards are hell-bent and determined to tattoo you digitally speaking. It's no different to what the Nazis did to the Jews. They're just not using a gun and putting it on your arm. Although that'll come with a different kind of gun, and it'll go in your arm in the form of a chip. But it is on the way, sadly. Red Letter, are you still in contact with Bob? And will I have him back on the show? Yes, I am in contact with Bob. And I will put a feeler out for him to see if we can't get him one day next week. It occasionally has to work out that I've got to pre-record Bob, because his shifts in his job mean that he can't be with us live. So I will attempt to do that. I actually have a number of questions for Bob, and there is a theory that we talked about last time he was on that I'm hoping he might be able to have explored a little bit more for us. I'm not sure that Bob is in fact doing any remote viewing yet. He has been quite ill. So hopefully he's back on his feet. And he did tell me that he'd go and have a look into a couple of things for me, which I'm very interested to hear about. So fingers crossed, we will have Bob back on the show sooner rather than later. Silver Fox, question. What is everyone's plan for when digital ID and facial scan are required to use YouTube and possibly search engines? Yes, what will happen come December when you've got to prove you're over 16?
Begin to another state like United States, England, etc. Then it won't be enforced.
Has his advantages being able to pop in, don't you think? I think so. Microsoft keeps sending me emails saying my computer no longer works from the 1st of October. All right, tell us about it.
Okay, firstly, that's the end of all questions, guys. Carl's got an appointment he's got to get to, so we're going to be finishing up the show now. We will do this again next Friday because it seems to work very well. The question is, your computer will not stop working. It will continue to run, you just will not get updates for security patches. That's all it is. And remember that Microsoft 10 has been patched for the last 5 years. So don't panic too much about it. Everything else will still work. End of story.
So it's not going to have too much of a difference or any impact on you, other than it's not going to keep signing up for new security updates. And at some point down the track, Microsoft will stop supporting that particular version that you are running. But by that time, that computer will probably be dead, and you'll be looking to upgrade to Microsoft Office 17 or 1700 or 360 or whatever the hell it turns out to be.
At least another year, because they are offering a $30 payout that you'll get security patches for another year. So you're guaranteed it's going to run for at least another year before they stop.
Beautiful. Just before I go, wanted to play this. You notice anything weird about this? Other than it, played double time. Anything weird? What do you notice? I think you've probably seen enough to notice it, if you're going to notice it at all. Donald Trump is walking 3-4 meters ahead of the king. The king is an assistant to Donald Trump, and the king's guard is subservient to Donald Trump, not the king. Things you notice. Borderline. Go and look up royal protocols. If you don't believe me, go and look up royal protocols. Have a great weekend, folks. Lots of dickheads drive around on the weekends. Make sure you're not one of them, and make sure you avoid the one that is.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!